FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning, Bahamas. In fact, good yawning this morning. I hope you guys enjoyed this weekend. I got a lot of yawning in, but that's after the farmer's market. Had a lot of fun at the farmer's market this weekend because there's still juju on the ground. And this vendor had a bag of juju that was so big, you could play parking with the juju. That's how big the juju was. So it was a fun time, especially for me, right? Because I'm always excited when it's growing time. This is our vegetable season, what we call our peak production season, or we call our winter season, right? And this is when we produce the vast majority of our vegetables because of the weather, the coolness of the weather, the lack of heat. Although we're coming towards the end of March, and that heat is creeping in. The heat is slowly creeping in. But the most beautiful part about it is to see not only are there mango blossoms on the trees, there are mangoes on the trees, and the mangoes are holding firm. And I want to say to everybody out there who's going through a rough time, hold firm, like the mangoes hold firm. Draw from your environment around you the nutrients and the things that you need to support yourself and your family. And know that the universe will continue to shower blessings upon you, and you gather them up and and let them fill you so you could hold firm to your source, hold firm to your tree like the mango does. And so I had a wonderful weekend. I hope everybody else had a wonderful weekend. Now, what I mean when I say I had a wonderful weekend is it was crazy out there on those roads, but I survived. I survived. Not an accident. Even though many, many people tried to hit my car while I was on the road. Now, my guest co-host today is Mr. Darwin Thompson, young human rights advocate. How are you, Darwin?
I'm good, Erin. Thank you for having me again.
How was your time on the road driving? I know you made a couple runs this weekend.
It's always, I wouldn't say always, but it's relatively difficult.
Yeah, so when I was your age or a little younger, right, I used to dream. I didn't get my license until I was 18, right? I used to dream of having a car. And the freedom that it would bring, right?
Oh, yeah.
Saturday, hit the road, don't come back home till the sun coming down. And now, look here, I am about to be 45.
Right.
And I don't want to drive anywhere at any time for anything.
And that's the thing, Erin. I actually love to drive, but I hate to drive on Nassau streets.
And you're very, very young.
Yeah. I love driving. Driving is something I love to do. Long drives, I could do it all day. But I hate to do it in Nassau.
And listen, and I used to drive a stick shift, a manual transmission.
Oh, yeah.
And that grew my love for driving. The ease with which you could manage your car.
Yeah.
With a stick shift, knowing how to balance your clutch and your neutral, your clutch, right?
That was the first thing that got me so into driving. Yeah.
But when I was sitting behind this car with a manual transmission, I felt like I could feel the car.
Right.
And I understood what the car was about to do when I changed gears.
Exactly.
Right? And I felt like I was in control of this vehicle.
Right.
Also, it required my full attention.
Yes.
Right? Because you always got to have one hand ready for your transmission.
Exactly.
And one hand on
and both feet working all the time.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I love that. Now that I drive automatic,
right,
I feel like I'm not even driving really.
Yeah, it takes the interaction with the car out of the equation.
So you drive a stick or automatic?
I've driven stick and automatic, and the automatic I can control the same way as a stick. So I know that if I push a certain distance, it's gonna gear up. If I pull back at a certain speed, it's gonna gear down. So I use my car in that way. I work on the gears rather than working on letting the automatic transmission do its own thing. I get greater control that way.
Let me ask you a quick question before we get into the show.
Sure.
Do you think we would be producing better drivers
Right.
and safer drivers
Right.
if students were required to learn how to drive with a manual transmission,
Oh yeah.
and they were required to take their test
In
with
a
a manual
manual.
transition?
I think so. Not only that, but I think if we had a bit more stringent rules when it came to learning how to drive, we'd get a little further. So taking students into more uncomfortable situations and then teaching them how to react to certain things in the road.
Wow. Do you think that's a really interesting point? Do you think that the traditional driving schools, the way they operate now, can do that? Or do you think we need a state managed or state oversight institute, right? So you could go to a driving school,
Right.
and then before you take your test, you're required to do a set number of lessons at
Right.
this institute.
Right. I think we kind of sort of have that kind of system, right? At least for me. I did my driving with Maycox. He was amazing. The Christian one. He was amazing, right? He was very careful with how he taught me and put me in situations that made me very uncomfortable. And he would always, at the end of a lesson, not just go to the next student, but spend about 15 minutes talking about what I did wrong or right.
And in front of other students who were in the vehicle,
In
right?
front of those other students, yeah. So the other students would then learn about it too.
Right.
And I was not embarrassed in the least because I didn't know how to drive, right? So I'm slamming the brakes, I'm turning
Yeah.
a little roughly and weirdly. So I didn't mind at all when the students came in and he talked about it. That was an experience for me that I don't think many other driving schools gave. So Maycock was in my first lesson, but he was the only person that allowed me to pass my test. Because all the other drivers were just like, drive, we'll get to the next point. They teach you the basics, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get my driver's license till I was 18.
Right.
And I used the driving school for a short period of time.
Right.
And I had an experience with a driving school, right? That
Yeah.
made me realize how important this responsibility of controlling a car was.
Right,
And
right.
the move this guy pulled on me,
Yeah.
I quit. I quit his school.
Yeah.
I couldn't say I fired him because how you fired a driving instructor and you don't even know how to drive,
Right,
right? But
right,
at that
right,
point,
right,
I
right.
knew that person
Yeah.
could not be my driver. That person couldn't teach me how to drive.
Yeah.
Right.
What he did, like took the wheel really quickly or did something
Well-
really sketchy. Eh?
You know Soldier Road intersection now,
Yes,
right? Do you
yes.
remember Soldier Road intersection before it was renovated?
No, I
Okay,
wouldn't
see,
have.
you dead young.
Yeah. Yeah.
So on the southeast side of that intersection, there used to be an empty lot and a fruit stand,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Tucked it in the corner there.
Yes.
And we were coming south on Soldier Road.
Right.
And he told me to put on my left turn signal
Okay.
as we were approaching the intersection.
Right. Right.
And so I put it on and I'm getting ready to turn left. So he said, no, don't turn left. Go straight. With the turn signal on left, right?
Oh, okay.
so
I know just what you mean.
I'm going across, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as we get into the intersection, we're about to get onto the other side of Soldier Road. He said, now turn left now, right? So I said,
Right.
boss, we going straight. And he said, no, turn left. What he meant was
man.
we're going to the fruit stand in the
Okay.
corner across the road,
Yes. Yes.
right? And he literally pulled the car over on the side of the road. Took the wheel from me. I don't understand why. Because we could have safely continued driving and turned around
Right.
and come back.
Exactly.
And
Okay.
It was at that moment that I knew, right, that this
It's at that
person was
moment
not
that-
going to teach me how to drive.
that he. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so if you guys are tuning in to the show right now, we're talking about traffic.
Right.
I'm glad to have my guest co-host in with me because I want to have an intergenerational conversation.
Right.
You know, I don't want to just be sort of stuck in what I think is the driving culture, or what I think about other drivers. I want somebody else's opinion
Sure.
on the thing. Now, this show, unfortunately, has been inspired by very sad events.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, we had 2 traffic fatalities. One in Stanyard Creek, Andros, and one on Saturday evening on Cumberland Street in New Providence. Right? And so I thought, what a good time to talk about driving culture. Not necessarily to like take advantage of these unfortunate accidents, but while they're in the forefront, maybe now is a good time to engage them.
Right. Bring some awareness.
Absolutely.
Around it, yeah.
Because I think one thing is absolutely certain is that the majority of Bahamian drivers are not reckless
Exactly.
drivers.
Agreed.
I think most drivers, though, are oblivious to their personal driving culture
Right.
and the way it impacts not just other drivers,
Right.
other road users,
Right.
and at a national level, right, the driving cultures that we display impact our economy.
And
Because-
I think that obliviousness is also intentional. If you ever bring attention to a driver of how they're doing something, you ever get that response, I got to do what's comfortable for me.
Wow.
Right?
That's a
So-
lot. I don't even get that. That's a lot of words. I would
know.
be impressed with that.
So you get that, I got to do what's comfortable with me, right? But you in the lane about to hit this other person. You're
Right.
in the middle of the lane about to hit someone else. Oh, but it's comfortable for me. I might hit that pothole. Oh, that's scary. That's scary for me.
Wow.
You know.
Look here, we're going to interrogate that in a second. We got a caller on the line. Caller, you're on the clock.
Good morning, Erin, Greene.
Good morning. How you do?
I'm always doing fine. Happy Monday to everybody. Good morning to your guest and good morning to your producer.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Erin. I also want to say I'm excited to see Loretta Turner back and gear. I hope she get into politics, maybe run for something. But good to see her.
I mean, it's good to see her. It's good to see that she's doing well.
Oh yeah,
and it's-
I miss her eyes in Parliament.
listen,
So it's good to see her. Huh?
if you're suggesting that you miss her,
I miss her eyes. And I miss her she got a lovely Bahamian accent.
listen, I thought you were gonna suggest that her keen sense of introspection
All of that. She got all of that.
and critical engagement, right? The things
got
that
all
she
of the
could see
intelligence.
with her eyes, but you really just focusing on her
So
physical
I
appearance.
Compliments too.
Because I'm a little disappointed
Oh.
that this is the first time we've seen her since 2017. I wondered where she was and why this is the first time she's really popping up in defense of women. We had a whole International Women's Month, and I haven't seen her really doing anything. A lot of women were relying on her. A lot of women put their faith in her.
Some people need a break, Erin.
to
Some people
begin
need
a
break. Sometimes
political
Paul, you need to
movement.
get a break.
Yeah, but you don't challenge for leader of the opposition.
I don't know if she challenged anybody yet, but
No.
I'm saying,
But I'm saying in the past, you don't just challenge
Oh.
for leader of the opposition and then say you need a break and then pop up whenever. Women throughout the country and men really had an expectation of Loretta Butler Turner. And they were hoping that she was going to start a third party
yeah.
or begin a political movement that challenged the status quo in terms of politics.
Well, babe, with this prime minister, everybody popping up now. Just get rid of him.
But see, that's another thing.
Story.
Do people think it's now politically expedient to raise their heads
yeah.
out of the sand, right?
Oh yeah. Because you got to talk about it, but I don't want to get to the point. You got to talk about the discrimination of cable beaching and properties. That's another discrimination, which we got to talk about. I probably bring up tomorrow if you want me to.
Well, listen,
I might go ahead.
I've always mentioned, and I've been mentioning through my political critique, the need to focus on the housing crisis, right?
Yeah.
And that's the approach that I want to take to that discussion. Where
Right.
does this decision or this policy,
And
right?
added to the discussion, to move away the thing called gated area. I don't want that. Whole entire new problem should be under local government, where each public dominating their own affairs and demanding their own affairs.
Well, listen,
we
but
try to think of getting that up. But what I really want to
hold
get
on,
at, Erin Greene-
don't go,
Okay, sure.
don't go from that point yet, Pumpkin Eater. You don't see a conflict or a contradiction in there, right?
There is, of course.
That you don't want gated communities, right? But you also want people to have the authority to govern themselves.
On the area, right?
In particular areas, right?
Right.
Demarked by geography.
Of course.
And don't you think that people in gated communities think that they're doing the same thing?
No. Here's what I'm saying. Most of the gated communities out west, right? A local government establishment could be your judge. They can govern how they want the government. I'm in the east. My local district would be in my area, and we will govern how we want to govern among my people.
Well, that's exactly what look here, that's exactly what the people in the
But
gated communities
that's
say, right?
discriminatory right now because without another story, I guess that's a story, so that's discriminatory.
Well,
That's discrimination.
Here's what I would like to talk about. I'm trying to get in touch with the people responsible for local government, right? So we could get some reps on to talk about it. But the question for you, or the question...
But when you get the rep to talk about it, that's government. Get the civil servants and everybody involved to make it balanced. Because the rep don't control our intellectual.
Well, yeah, no, I'm not just going to have...
Right. I'm just making sure we balance it.
Yeah, I'm going to have a thorough critique of the potential of local government and the government's intent as
I'd like to
well,
be a
right?
part of it.
But what I'm saying simply is this, is that are you suggesting then, when you say you don't like gated communities, that local government should be the mechanism
Of course.
that people use as opposed to closing themselves off as much as possible?
And of course, that we be doing that for, like I said, I'm about 10 years older than you. We've been doing that from decades.
Yeah.
I need to stop. But also, now you want me to get another point?
Yeah, man, go to your point.
Oh, you sure you'll engage me some more?
Well, listen, I want to talk about driving culture.
Sure, okay, let's get to that.
Yeah.
First of all, road traffic need this technology scenery where you don't have to. You could like some of the plane when people learn to fly, you could learn to drive through that system.
So you want a driving simulation
right.
machine, yeah.
Okay.
Right, that is important because I've seen it in the various states in various countries of China, and they test your eyes and everything in there. Because most people, tell you the truth, you could learn to drive through gaming.
No.
Right.
That's what I used to think.
For some
No,
people, I know
Pumpkin.
you say no. But
I grew up in gaming, and that's what I used to think.
Okay.
That you could learn to drive. And it's obvious that many of the people on the road today learn to drive
yeah, okay,
through
that's crazy.
gaming.
But okay, I take that back. But this system that I mentioned,
Yeah.
I've seen it done, and it works.
Oh, yeah, I agree
Because-
with you.
Yeah.
Oh, we have this in our trade, this how to learn to fly the plane, and most of the guys who train in that area know how to fly a plane before they enter the plane.
Right. And what I like about it as well is this, is that space teaches or allows you to learn other types of skills, right?
Of course,
Like spatial awareness and
Yeah.
critical thinking skills.
Yes.
eye testing, test your eyes.
Running through
Well-
checklists.
Well, this
Right.
is right, and but this is one of the things I have on this list here of things that we need to focus on
Right.
as citizens concerned about safer roads, right?
And the other thing I want to add to that, we need to regularly, when we test our vehicles, to go to road traffic test, we need to test for hearing and eye.
Well, see, this is it right now.
Right.
So one of the things I wanted to suggest is that once you hit a certain age, right?
Right.
Or if when you got your driver's license, you were wearing glasses,
Right.
that you were required to take or submit an eye test regularly and show proof of ownership of glasses, right?
Well, the proof would be you get doctor description. The doctor,
Well-
you got to bring that in.
No, that's that you got tested.
Right, test it.
Now
right.
we need to have proof that you have a pair of glasses,
Right, okay.
right? So listen, you hear that music?
I hear that music, and that's my contribution. I'm your one and only punk leader. Have a good
But
day.
listen, thank you very much. This traffic conversation and this driving culture conversation, like Pumpkin Eater always suggests, requires all of us, not just at the state level, but most importantly, citizens to contribute. So please join the conversation. Our numbers to call are 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, and our text line is 422-GR96. Thank you, Kermit. Let's go to that break, and we'll be right back on 96.9 FM.
Hello, my name is Dr. Dane Bowe, orthopedic surgeon and currently chairman of the Bahamas Medical Council. Here are the facts about the AstraZeneca vaccine. Tens of thousands of people participated in the Stage 3 clinical trials, and there were no instances of serious illness or death attributed to the vaccine. That safety record has held steady as the vaccine has been rolled out to millions of people around the world. The AstraZeneca vaccine is cost-effective to purchase, and since it does not require ultra-cold storage like other popular vaccines, it is easier to ship and store, making it a popular choice for many countries around the world, including the Bahamas. It is projected that over 200 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine will be produced per month as production ramps up to save even more lives, establishing it as one of the leading COVID-19 vaccines. To learn more about the COVID-19 vaccines, kindly visit us at opm.gov.bs/vaccine.
Always on the go? Missed the show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
In life, there are always challenges. Today, we find ourselves having to be more self-sufficient, socially aware, and technically savvy. At J.S. Johnson, we are committed to our customers by providing cost-effective insurance solutions. No matter what your insurance needs, we will always be here for you. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com. J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers, giving you peace of mind.
Meet Jackie. Jackie's a hard worker with a steady income, but she has a personal loan and multiple credit cards to pay off. To keep her account current, Jackie opted for a loan from Fidelity Bank to consolidate her debt into one monthly payment and earn interest on a built-in savings account. Be like Jackie. Call 356-7764 to book a complimentary financial coaching session. Fidelity also offers virtual assistance. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Good morning, Bahamas. You're on the clock with Erin Greene. Today is Monday, March 29th, 2021. You're tuned into 96.9 FM. Remember, we're also streaming live audio and video on GuardianTalkRadio.com. You can listen on TV on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 or Flow Channel 612. Or you can download the Guardian Radio app for your Apple or Android smart devices and listen to our audio feed or watch us on our video feed right there on the Guardian Radio app. Remember, our text line is 422-4796. That's 422-4796. That's powered by BTC and standard text rates apply. And our call-in numbers are 323-6232, 325-4316, or 326-4259. So, Darwin, just as we were going to the break, I got this text. I want to read it. It said, "Morning, man, Erin. I believe you're the one who drives bad. In no way one person can experience all the mishaps you do unless they driving bad, too." Now, I didn't say I experience mishaps, I say I witness and observe behavior. I didn't say I experience mishaps. I witness and I observe.
And who doesn't, right?
Behavior, right?
Who doesn't?
Like this weekend on Fox Hill. In fact, it was Friday on Fox Hill Roundabout.
Right.
I witnessed a propane truck speeding up to Fox Hill Roundabout, right? And I'm almost certain they had the stop sign.
Yeah.
And they were mad at us for slowing down to ensure that there would be no collision if they didn't stop.
Right.
And I was surprised as the driver threw his hands in the air to see his cell phone in his hand. So when I called the company to report that they need, or not to report, but to suggest that now is a good time for enhanced driver training. The person said to me, in the driver's defense, well, they have to find directions, right? And I said that's why there's a passenger in the vehicle. That's why they roll with 2 people. So the person who is not driving would be responsible for that coordination. And it's when I realized that people are importing, they take in their personal driving culture into professional and commercial driving spaces, as opposed to the opposite, where the commercial and driving standards supposed to trickle down to set the standard for normal drivers. And so I could be honest with you, Texter, I almost did run hard a little bit just now, because it's almost as if you don't see the mishaps and the traffic offenses happening around you all the time. And that could be for one of 2 reasons. Now, I don't want you to think I'm picking on you, Texter. So when I say you now, this is just a general you to the public. But maybe you are not paying due care and attention to the road in front of you. And maybe you are oblivious to what's happening around you. Or secondly, maybe you are not aware that the behavior that you are witnessing constitutes a traffic offense. So further to that point, a company, I think, hired by or partnering with Rev Analytics, right, which is a subsidiary of Rev, this communication service provider, conducted a survey at the Marathon Robinson Road East-West Highway intersection, where they whether it was through cameras or somebody on site, documented the number of traffic infractions that occurred in that intersection. And the amount of money they say would be raised in one day was astounding. It was astounding. So I would say to the texter and to other people, because this is not the only time people suggest to me that I'm the person that has a problem with it. I'm going to suggest in this conversation that not only are we becoming oblivious to this devolution of driving culture, but it has real impact on our everyday lives.
So I want to mention a specific scenario. So a lot of people don't realize that the Eastern Road, there's 2 solid white lines going down that entire road. The entire thing. Straight down.
Yeah.
Meaning that you can't overtake, or you're not legally allowed to overtake on any side of the road.
Right, double line.
Exactly. So, there's this one day I'm driving home. It's bumper to bumper traffic. If you try to overtake, getting into another spot is going to be hard. So it's incredibly dangerous to be doing any overtaking at that time. This company vehicle decides now is the perfect time. While all the cars are stopping in front of me to turn through a corner, now is the perfect time to go ahead and overtake everybody. While the cars are turning into over the hill by I forgot the name.
Don't worry
heading
about it.
into Eastwood.
Yeah.
So he decides now is the time to overtake. So he overtakes me, gets in front of me, and I record the entire thing is recorded. It's scenarios and situations like that are extremely scary. Because if you're willing to do that in a company vehicle, imagine what you do in your own vehicle.
Yes. I mean, and then you realize that there's no standard, and that there's no culture, or the culture is so horrible.
Right.
And I wonder, what do companies see? What do they think their obligation is to road users?
Exactly.
How are you training your drivers? Right. And why is it that you could have somebody working in your company that isn't aware that they can easily be traced back to the company, right? And you could easily be identified, and dealt with. But maybe people feel so lax because there's a lack of enforcement culture as well, both from companies, right, that hire drivers, and on the police side, and on the social side. But look here, while we was talking, I just get a whole bunch of texts come in, and I got a caller on the line. Let's go to this caller dead quick, then we're going to get to the text. Caller, you're on the clock.
A godly day to you and the voice along with you, Erin.
Good morning. Thank you. How are you?
I'm holding, thank God.
Blessings.
Talking about the gas truck, right?
Yeah, the propane truck.
They should only be allowed to make so many miles an hour because if they hit something and explode, they're going to kill a lot of people. And then those people would get killed. Their family going to be out because they only insured for so many.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So people got to think, and I wish somebody would look into that.
Well, listen, I know that there is a major equipment rental company that is, and I'm hoping to get them on the show soon, that's very focused on that because they set standards in their company and they want to see industry-wide standards, right? That, and that's what we need. Could you imagine? I witnessed people driving these same propane trucks wearing slippers. Not the kind of old people's sandals I put on where you strap your foot in, your ankle in dead strong,
Open toe.
Flip-flop, open-toe slippers while they're driving a propane truck.
Yeah.
Right? There's an obvious lack of standards. Let's get to these texts. Morning, all of the driving schools let the students know how they did on their lessons. Remember, the schools don't give a license. It's road traffic who does after conducting a successful exam. What would be great, right, is if you go to a driving school and you complete a series of tests or lessons with them, that there is a link to the government system, to the testing system.
Exactly. A curriculum of sorts.
Right.
Right.
So even though you take another test with the government, they can get a sense of how you did on your tests coming into the final test.
Exactly.
Here's another text. Morning, I was at the intersection of Carmichael Road and Faith Avenue heading east. That's going straight, right? So they were eastbound. There were vehicles on both sides of me just before my light turned green. When the light turned green, I started to drive forward and the vehicle in the left lane cut me off to go east. And the vehicle in the right lane cut me off to go north on Faith Avenue, and both vehicles nearly collided. I always drive defensively, but that was shocking. I too am shocked. What I can need you to do is realize that is a very traumatic situation. And when something like that happens, feel free to go find a safe place to park on the side of the road and catch yourself, catch your breath. Another disturbing practice I've seen is people creating third lanes.
Oh, yeah.
People creating a turn lane when there is no turn lane, and people making a lane on the left-hand side.
When there is none.
When there is none, right? Now, I talked about spatial awareness and that driving can teach. Not only does it require a practice of spatial awareness, but it can teach spatial awareness as well, right? But this is more than spatial awareness, right? This is about a lack of regard.
And lack of personal responsibility.
Right? So I can imagine people coming in from the Family Islands, right? Getting used to New Providence roads in the absence of signage, in the absence of instructions and directions, feeling that you could use your discretion to make a decision. But this is a rule that applies across the board.
Right.
I can't trust your discretion unless I know that you have a sound understanding of spatial awareness.
Exactly.
Right? And so that leads me to another text, Darwin. Miss Greene, morning, 2 straight. Boy, this guy, that's my F&M friend.
Okay.
So when we talk about spatial awareness, he don't care what's going on.
Yeah.
Pushing that message, but I'm glad he texts.
Yeah.
So good morning. Erin, in other countries, I have seen notes added to a driver's license saying visual correction. That way the police know to enforce when they stop you. Also, the government contracts optometrists to screen drivers and give them a slip ahead of license renewal. Yeah, these are basic things in developed countries.
Right.
Thank you, Texter. Good morning, great discussion. Wish we would all be more courteous and safe on our roads. Unfortunately, this, like many of our issues, is due to generations of bad examples with no law enforcement. Just look at the amount of precious babies unharnessed and bouncing around the car. We have become increasingly selfish and impatient on the roads, and this results in reckless driving. I hope we can do better. Now, you said a whole lot there, Texter, and I'm going to snitch on myself a little bit here. I can be an impatient driver, but let me tell you what it stems from. When you get behind the wheel of a car, you say to the whole world, you say, I am prepared to drive the car.
Right.
I am not sick to the point where I can't keep control of this car.
Right.
I don't have a problem with my eyes. I can drive this car.
And I can see.
Right.
I can tell what's going on.
I can hear. I am aware of all of the traffic rules and controls.
Right.
I understand what the lines in the road mean.
Right.
And I understand what my obligation is to other road users. And at any point in time, I know who has the right of way and who is expected to yield or give way. When you get in your car, right, it's like you sign an oath.
Exactly. It's an oath.
Right. And so I become impatient with people who come onto the road and break basic traffic controls as if they're unaware of what the lines in the road are.
Right, right.
For instance, on Marathon, there is a strip in the middle of the road, right? It is a turning lane. So if you're trying to turn to the right or to the left, you enter that lane as opposed to obstructing traffic until you can turn.
Right, right.
The vast majority of drivers either don't know or don't care.
Same thing with the Johnson Road, T junction.
Yeah.
Yeah, people will turn wide.
Right, from the eastbound lane instead
and
of
block the entire Eastern Road waiting to turn.
Absolutely. Or they will turn wide, not realizing there is a car in the turning lane about to turn. And almost cause an accident.
Yes.
Listen, I got a caller on the line. We kept you waiting long. Caller, you're on the clock.
Yes, good morning, Miss Greene, and good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, interesting topic. You know, Erin, I'm a cyclist, right?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I was knocked off my bike a couple of days ago, right? I was actually in the front of the car, and the guy almost rode me over. But, good thing we're born still young, even though I'm in my 50s. But, he didn't stop. He didn't stop, and he said it's only a rim. But the bike costs about maybe $2,000 brand new.
Yeah.
Without the shipping. But I just want the drivers to bear in mind that some bicycles cost up to $14,000. I went in Cycles Unlimited. I saw one for about $30-something hundred. So just bear that in mind. And the thing is that hurt me is this is what the fact that Blue Hill Road is now northbound and Market Street is now southbound, respectively, right? What the drivers are not doing is when they're pulling out of Blue Hill, which is northbound, they're only looking south. And they're not looking north. Pedestrians are traveling south, cyclists are traveling south. So when you're on Market Street, people are walking northbound, but you're only looking. People are walking southbound, but you're only looking northbound, and so that gives a potential to knock people as they move southbound and northbound, respectively.
Yeah.
They're not paying attention that the government didn't enlighten the people on this, and I'm seeing it over and over, along with overwhelming amount of people driving with these phones in their hands. Every morning I walk my little daughter to school, I see it. All right, and it's ridiculous, and they can make a lot of money by that because the people are not taking it serious. These vehicles are dangerous. The guy, I was actually afraid because I thought he was going to roll over me, but I was in the front of his car. He didn't even see me because he didn't even look.
Up. Yeah.
He didn't even look north. He just looked south the way the traffic is coming. But like I said, this is a problem that I observe, and I'm frequently in the city, and I know this is a great problem because I watch the school children, and everybody's in danger. Have a good day.
Listen, thank you, 52. I don't think people understand the extent to which this problem permeates our communities and the impact. First of all, have you ever lost your car, like you lost access to your car because of an accident with no backup car?
Listen,
right?
Erin, I'll give you a story. I got my car about a year and a half ago, and my car sat in Ford Motors for about 4 months. After I just got it, because somebody decided to pull out of Comfort Suites as I'm driving up.
Yeah.
They didn't look left, didn't look right. They just pulled straight out. And with the cell phone thing, caller, man, listen to me. I am so scared to drive with my phone above any certain point. If I have to check my phone, I'm scared to do it. I have a fear to do it.
You don't. What you do is, and in fact, I tell people, if you call in me, right? Call twice.
Exactly.
If you call twice, I'll know it's important.
Right.
And I will pull over right away.
get
to
that
check my
call.
phone.
Exactly.
But I'm not touching my phone
Right.
while I'm driving. Now, a part of this is because my insurance agent is a family member,
Right.
right?
Right.
And she looked me in my face and tell me, I will tell the police, take you to jail if I feel you're lying
exactly
about what
driving
happened.
on your phone.
Right?
Yeah.
And I believed her my whole life.
Yeah.
That she would take me to jail and they would take me from her and say, okay, ma'am, whatever you say.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't understand why people do not understand how dangerous it is to not be in full control of your car. And if you're on your cell phone, you're not in full control of your car.
Exactly.
Now, it may seem like I'm ranting,
No, man.
but we
it's
just heard
serious.
from a person who got knocked down and rolled over by somebody who was paying more attention to their cell phone. And this is not the first person I've spoken to in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, Erin, we all see the people on the light that haven't moved for, and traffic is miles ahead of you. They still haven't moved.
All right, look
They
here.
on the phone.
We running on. We got some callers and we got some texts. Caller, you're on the clock.
Yes, good morning, Ms. Greene. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Listen, I'm just listening, so I don't know whether anybody commented on this before. But I think one of the tragedies I witness every day on the road is, whereas the government has now gone and allowed you to turn left if nothing coming. Cars just pull out in front of you if you're going left, whether you're coming, you ain't coming, or whatever it is.
They will
I don't know if the people are educated to know that you're only supposed to be able to turn left if nothing is coming left. But and now we also have this thing where, for some reason, cars don't even stop to the corner no more.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
They just come and pull right out.
Yep. So
They just come and pull right out. And, it's amazing. I think a little more education needs to be put on. I don't know how public service or whether saying it to really let them know. I mean, we go to the States and we know we only could turn right if nothing coming, and we abide by that.
it's not just that. We know that to assess whether the way is clear or not, you have to come to a full stop for 3 seconds and look both left and right because, like the other caller just said, pedestrians may be moving in the opposite direction of traffic, as they are encouraged to do, right? And then you make a determination of whether you can go clear or not. And I see this happening plenty at the Mackey and Shirley Street intersection. And I think that we need to put a no left on red at that particular intersection for a couple of reasons. The first reason is the intersection is blind. It's difficult to assess whether traffic is coming from the point you are indicated to stop. So where the wide line is in the road.
Right.
And let me make this point as well. A lot of you don't know that is where you are required to stop at your red light, where that big thick line is. If you cross over that line into the intersection, that's a $250 fine.
You've now run the light.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you cross over in that space into the yellow box during a red light or you remain there in a red light, that's a $500 fine.
I have a picture, Erin, of a bus that came out on the intersection of Bernard Road, where they have the big box?
Yeah.
Bernard Road right there by Burger King. The bus is sitting in the middle of that yellow box, and traffic is going around him.
Yeah.
So he's just sitting there. The light is red. He's sitting. I have the picture. I'll show it to you.
Yeah. He can't move, right? And so, like the caller said, and thank you very much, caller, we have multiple problems here. We have drivers that disregard what the traffic controls are. We have drivers who are unaware of what's required of them at each traffic stop.
Exactly.
And we have a lack of awareness and education around traffic control changes. Boy, we got a lot of texts here. Good morning. Trust me, the things I experience on the road makes me wonder if I will make it to heaven sometimes, especially since this turn on left law. Well, listen, I witnessed I witnessed an accident where the person so 3 cars came out on left on red.
Yeah.
The first car stopped and made an assessment. Right. The second 2 cars just witnessed them going left, didn't slow down enough to check that the light was not green, and sped out. Fortunately, the way was clear. The 4th vehicle did not stop, did not slow down, just assumed the light was green, I imagine, and sped out of the corner and ran into a bus, a tour bus. And I witnessed that. right?
He gonna have to pay a lot of money for that bus.
Boy, look here. Because that's not just one person's vehicle.
No.
That's a part of an economic system, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Ms. Greene, it would be good to remind drivers to look north and south respectively, especially going on to one-way Blue Hill and Market Streets, because pedestrians and cyclists move. Thank you. Good morning. If I had my way, I would remove every roundabout because Bahamians do not know how to use them, and I would ban small cars. No, we can't ban small cars. But there's a very interesting point there. I think that there is a culture that has sprung up amongst the small car owners. I think that when people pay off their car entirely and they no longer have a relationship with the bank. See, when you buy a car through the bank, you and the bank own the car.
Right.
So you can't just be on these roads acting like it's your car alone. When you're about to run that red light, you got to think about the bank who also own that car with you.
Exactly.
And that helps you to moderate your behavior as a driver. But when you done paid that car off and you get that note and you realize I could find $2,000, I could find $3,000 to go buy a car, maybe that creates a driving culture that does not impress upon the driver the importance of moderating their own behavior. Got another text here. I see where there is a white line around the roundabout on East-West Highway and East Street. It would be a good idea to do the same on all of the roundabouts. Most drivers believe roundabouts are one lane only. I agree with you. And with those lines means you're supposed to use your turn signal when you're changing lanes. I think Marathon roundabout may be a one lane roundabout with a 1-lane exit and a 2-lane entrance, right, to each spot. But it may be one lane.
Which roundabout?
That's boy, this young man, hey, Marathon. So Wolf Road heading to that one.
Yeah,
there.
okay.
Caller, I'm sorry I lost you. I'm so sorry. Hi, Erin. You talk about third lane. The government can make a lot of money for the Treasury by sitting along Collins Avenue Hill. Persons would come from Bahamas first and make a third line to get to Fifth Terrace. It's awful. Also, let me make a note. This morning, there were two people. One man was standing in the middle of the left lane on Shirley Street, directly outside Collins Avenue Hill, right? And there was a woman who was walking up that same lane, further west of him, in the road. We have an increase in mental health issues and people experiencing mental health issues and instability on the island and in the country. Right. And we see this play out most often. It manifests itself. We see people in the road and we see people taking up space that's unsafe for them to take up. And in many instances, these people are trying to get us to see them because they feel invisible, right, in their own country. But we got to be aware of them and understand that even though they may be what we call jaywalking or creating an obstruction, they are humans too. Please drive carefully and safely when you see these people in the road. Kermit, I see I got a caller there. If we can, let's get to that caller dead quick. Erin, or in that case, have your phone switch to voicemail immediately. I agree, but voicemail systems don't work. They just get lost in there. Caller, you're on the clock. Good morning, caller. You're on the clock. Oh, I'm sorry, caller. Another text. I am so in agreement with the caller about the left turn law. The powers that be fully understand what is going on. That's why they can't come on air to say where they evaporate to after 9 a.m., why they aren't undercover on buses and why they pass people straight in accidents and don't even check. This is the most glaring indictment of the traffic police force since the 90s. Selective enforcement and zero accountability for what they are paid for every day.
Yeah, very selective.
When you go into headquarters on their, they have a beautiful display, and the number 2 mandate says every officer is a traffic officer. Exactly. And I sat in the road with a man's head in my lap who got knocked down by a car and broke his femur. I sat in the road with him as cars drove past us, refusing to slow down appropriately, and the police car drove right past us. So it happens.
Yeah.
Got another text here. Good morning, Miss Greene. We need to move our point system to a point system on our driver's license. I'm afraid to drive in New Providence. And I got this text here, Erin, yesterday on Go Slow Bend, West Bay Street, the small car overtook us and narrowly missed oncoming traffic. I was so surprised. I didn't even see him coming, speeding for no reason. Few miles up in the same car, was going at a slow pace near Bahama. Right, sometimes people aren't even aware of when they're speeding and not speeding because they're really focused on their phone. And what they're doing on their phone directs their behavior. Boy. Another text, blowing people their horn at the roundabout is a big problem. Somebody says small cars burn less gas. Yes, and we are a small island.
They burn less gas, but they're still not very efficient.
And they're not very safe. There's not these old American style cars made of iron and steel. Right. These made of carbon and fiberglass. You get mashed up in these cars. Erin, you're talking about drivers. I just almost had to run off the road because a police officer on a motorbike overtaking on a curve, and I had to swerve to avoid hitting him. Well, I have a whole segment here on emergency vehicles and our obligations to them on the road. Maybe we continue this conversation tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be talking with one of the local marijuana lobby groups about their opinion on what's been happening in the news with young people, marijuana, and edibles in the market. Darwin, thank you for joining me this morning. It's been a full conversation. Yes. Bahamas, thank you for staying tuned into 96.9 FM in this conversation. I think it's important. I hope the contributions of our callers and texters have shared just how important the conversation is. We may pick up some of it tomorrow when you're back on the clock with Erin Greene. Stay tuned. Levan Miller and Unleashed is up next.